I am.
You got any banter?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Let's get started then. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Blackout Tips Podcast. I am your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
and we are live on a Sunday afternoon, ready to do some podcasting. Find us everywhere you get your podcast. Search the Black Guy Who Tips. Leave us 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. We didn't get any last week, and we would love to get some. So make sure you guys do that. The official weapon of the show is
phone chair.
And the unofficial sport.
Bullet ball.
And bullet ball extreme.
Can't wait a minute. Can't wait a minute.
What you talking about?
What you talking about, Karen? Banter me up.
Banter you up. All right. I've realized that I am the type of person that I like the technology that a lot of the doctors and things and hospitals have embraced, because now a lot of them have apps and a lot of them will text you reminders or text you, hey, you got an upcoming appointment, or hey, you're late for your, like you missed a schedule, like for the optometrist. It was like, hey, you're past due since the last time. I really appreciate that, because I've realized a lot of times when they call, I'm thinking, okay, you done found something on my files, I'm about to die, what's going to happen? You took the extra time to actually call. So it makes me almost like in a panic mode. Not all the time, but sometimes it makes me panic, because I'm like, okay, why are you calling me? Like
yeah, that's interesting, because I know if I get a call if it's been a while since I had an appointment, then obviously that call is just about an appointment normally.
Right.
Now if I just saw you, but see, they still make that call. So that's so honestly, the call would still make me nervous, but I just find it to be more convenient. The text and the and the apps and stuff. Like, I had to do something with the nutritionist, and she was like, "Oh, do you know your A1C or something like that?" And I'm like, I don't off the top of my head, but I can find out what those results were. And I was able to go into the application and be like, this is the number. And she's like, okay, cool. Like, so, and everything, cholesterol's in there, like everything's in there. So like, yeah, I absolutely love those apps. I embrace it. I know there's a lot of people that don't like that stuff because they tracking you. They got your records. Tell you right now, dog, them shits be getting hacked anyway. They've been hacking hospital and doctor's records forever. So they got your shit. So the problem for me is me not having access to my shit. I don't know what the fuck someone else gonna do with access to my shit. But I for sure know it's convenient for me to have it. And before in the past, you'd have to like call a doctor, get them to fax something or mail something to you. Now you can just look it up yourself.
Yeah, and I do appreciate that, and I like particularly if like they're all on whatever that app is. I think My Chart is the one that our doctor uses, and this is one of the more popular ones. And I like that because when I went to the ear, eye, throat people, they was like, oh yeah, you got a My Chart? I was like, yeah, and all of a sudden I merged that in with the doctor one. So now, even though they're separate, I could actually go to either one at any times through the app without separating. So if I need to send one thing to the other, I can just basically like, okay, here you go, boom, send it, and they basically have it. I'm like you, it could be good and bad, but sometimes they'll send you like results before the doctor can actually talk to you. So sometimes you're reading the shit and you don't even understand what it says sometimes, but I do appreciate me getting it as soon as possible. Like it's no wait, it's no delay.
Sometimes they'll call and explain it to you, or they'll write after you get the results. The doctor, at least our doctor, will actually go in there and write like something to you about what it means. So yeah, I like that stuff too. I guess for me, I was on the radio. We didn't have enough time to really talk about it when I was, because if I'm not mistaken, we was kind of in a rush. A couple episodes this week, we had shit to do. But yeah, it was cool being on the local sports radio with Wes and Walker. First time meeting Wes, but I've talked to Walker a few times. He's also the co-host of Locked On Hornets, which I listen to all the time. And yeah, it's fun. Like I was on there for an hour. We talked about a bunch of stuff, not just sports, talked about movies and I made a bunch of jokes and stuff. And I never had a problem with turning off cursing or saying the N-word and stuff. So it's just super easy to it was a breeze to be on there. And seeing like their production side and stuff. It's they have a lot of equipment, but it's nothing different than what we do. Like honestly, I was not shook. I wasn't nervous about it. I didn't care about it being live. They have a dump button, which we don't have. So if you do say some third rail thing, they can just hit that button on you real quick. But yeah, it was fun. The meeting everybody was fun. Walker's a great host and was able to like keep it moving while also allowing us to jump in with things. And I try to jump in, sparingly, because I understand as a host, it can be frustrating if people just keep stepping over your points and your words. But I pick my spots, and if I could find something funny or something to add, I try to like hop in and say that. So it was a cool situation. I'm always so busy. I really didn't even know when I would be able to do it, because between the gym now and I was doing Drapetomaniacs. We got another thing we're working on now in the background that's meetings and all that type of stuff. I just never know when I'll have time, but it was fun to have some time and be able to do that. So that was cool. And my uncle was on my Facebook, and people was telling me, I heard you, and it was funny too, because I also went for a walk and I got spotted by a fan of Karen Hunter, who was like,
shout out to Karen Hunter,
the black guy with tips. So I was like, oh, what's going on? And she was a very nice person. And she said it was my shirt they gave me away, because I had on like a nerd shirt with Captain America. But yeah, so it's, that was like a couple cool experiences in the last week that I didn't get to talk about on the show.
Cool. My next thing is you bought a mirror. I absolutely love the mirror. It's on the door.
Yeah, I bought a hanging mirror. It's like a more of a full length mirror. I bought it because I'm supposed to do, like, I noticed that one, I don't take a lot of pictures of myself anyway, but at least not full length body pictures and stuff. I'm never really doing a fit check or whatever people are doing, but part of my thing with physical trainer and all this working out, I'm supposed to take pictures of myself, even if it's just for me and I don't send them out to anybody.
Right.
It's just for my own like progress, because it helps to see the progress, and it's harder to see it day by day, as opposed to if you look at a picture from 6 months ago and then you look at a picture of yourself now, it might not be some drastic change, because I didn't jump in this to try to get a drastic quick change, but it's stuff I can notice. I do notice, like this shirt I'm wearing now fits a little looser than it was a few months ago and stuff like that. And so I was like, let me just go ahead and get the mirror, and so I can take those pictures, even if I just save them in my phone. And so, because I noticed I really couldn't do it with the bathroom mirrors, because there's not enough space.
Right, and it's hard to get, like you said, the full length.
Yeah, you got to stand outside our bathroom to get the picture and zoom in and all this. I was like, I'll just get a mirror and I'll just do it. So that's why I got it.
I absolutely love the mirror. And what was hilarious, 5 minutes after I told you I love the mirror, I scared myself to death, because I was walking in something mood. I'm like, oh shit, what is that? Wait, that's me. Because most of the time I wasn't used to the mirror being there, so I'm not used to anything reflecting and moving back at me.
I knew that was gonna happen when I got it. I said she's gonna be scared of the mirror eventually, but yeah, we'll get used to it being in the house. That's why I kind of leave the door a little bit more ajar, so that it's not like you're walking towards yourself when you walk out to the bedroom, if I can help it. But yeah, it will get used to it. But yeah, I knew you would.
I was cool. I was like, yeah, I love that mirror. I opened up that door, go, oh shit, what's that? Oh, that's me.
Anything else?
Yes, I was thinking about my niece. I niece, she all grown and adult and graduated from high school. I was thinking about the other day, because my feet are small, and I was thinking about how I used to love, because me and my niece have the same style. Like we actually like a lot of the same things. And so I remember when she was growing up and she was growing, and I'm an adult. My feet are small. I'm just a small person. So I used to love when she would outgrow how cute, like little sandals and flip flops and shit. Boy, I used to go in there and have a field day. I used to yank them up. Oh, these fit. Thank you. These fit. Thank you too. I go ahead and take this. You ain't wearing them. You can't wear them, and nobody else in the house can wear them but me. So I was thinking about that the other day. I used to love to go in there and then rumble through her shoes and take them for myself.
We gave my brother the Peloton today, my brother's family. And I'm just happy to have it go to a good home.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna get used.
Because I mean they're fit and they stay in shape, they work out, but also they got like 4 kids. They got 4 kids, and it's a lot of I'm sure they don't have as much time and stuff. And I just wanted to go to a good place because I know we weren't using it really. And just every time I tried to get rid of it,
I finally gave up the ghost. I was like, you know what?
Lie to yourself and lie to me about how you gonna use it all the time. And so I was glad to give it to them. And it was, we didn't charge them or anything for it. And I know you can sell those things and make money, but honestly, I just didn't want no strangers in my house.
That's true.
I know that, everyone's like, it's not that bad. Craigslist, all that stuff. I feel y'all. I really do feel y'all on that one. But I was watching this show today called Worst Roommate Ever. And a lot of these people was like letting murderers and all kinds of shit in their house, and a lot of that stuff happened from Craigslist and all these off the, like, you can trust people, you can't trust people. So I just was like, you know what, man, I'ma just give it to my family. And I knew, and I also, if I really wanted to make money off of it, I could have found a way, but it felt good. And it's kind of interesting too, because we had fortune cookies yesterday. And one of my fortunes, I got 2-in-1 cookie for some reason.
Yes, you did. And you got a 2-for-1.
I don't know if that's good or bad, like if that's some type of omen. But one of them said, follow your heart for success in the coming week, which I always follow my heart. So, and then the other one was, you will be called upon to help a friend in trouble. Answer the call. And I'm like, I don't know. Hopefully nobody's in trouble.
I hope not.
But I'm gonna just count this. I'm gonna count this as the trouble. I don't. That's the most trouble I want to deal with.
Yeah, it was a need, and we met the need.
Like,
yes.
The trouble was they needed some exercise in the house. Like, let's go with that. But nah, it felt cool, and it was good to see him. That's it for anything for me.
And it was hot. Oh my gosh! We
was only outside for like 4 minutes moving the Peloton into the car, and I was sweating.
Yeah, it was really warm.
Anything else? Okay. All right, cool. Let's get into some of these segments.
P. Diddy be wanting the body, and you gotta tell him no.
It's like
That's right. More a moment of P. Diddy. Miami Beach rescinds Sean Diddy Combs' day amid abuse allegations.
Oh, I didn't even know he had a day.
Yeah, it took him a minute. I guess they was holding out hope or something, but the day is normally, I guess, October 13th.
Oh, so it's coming up. They was like, the day coming up. Let's let everybody know this shit ain't happening.
Yeah.
Before you book your tickets and make your plans.
Yeah. The decision came on June 28th after much reflection from city officials. Man, I'm trying to imagine what the fuck was the reflection. Like, I just imagined that meeting was 3 minutes. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
And like 2 of the minutes was like, who got the COVID? This from Starbucks or this the local spot?
Who bought the donuts? Yeah, that's as far as that went. Yeah, not trying funny, because of their position, you got to quote unquote pretend like you was reflecting and all that shit.
I guess, because like, who the fuck
Truth be told, that like you said, that wasn't
Right.
that could have been an email. Why else we meeting?
Right. We could have did all this on Zoom.
Right.
Like, so who's the person that's holding out?
Right. Why is we showing up for this?
Yeah, you done lost the key to the city of New York.
Right.
So if if you're looking for him to open it up for you, find somebody else.
Not happening.
And then no Diddy Day for Miami Beach. So it looks like he's falling out of favor in a lot of symbolic ways. Mm-hmm. A law firm has also dropped him after pressure from Lady Gaga. Yeah. So the prestigious Manhattan law firm Grubman, Shire, Marcellus, and Sachs, known for representing wealthy clients, including Diddy, recently cut ties with them. And the decision came, according to News Nation, at Lady Gaga's urging. She knows about that video, and I guess she said, yeah, so
you won't be representing me.
It sounds like she said, I'm gonna leave unless y'all drop him.
That's exactly what.
And they said we can't lose Lady Gaga. She actually doesn't have videos beating people. Now, what is interesting as a law firm, you almost think they will be like for them, I could see this being a tough decision.
Yes.
And the reason I say that is because this is where the money is made, right? The money isn't made in having a client that has no legal problems. The money is really made when like this is when you start billing them long hours. You're like, yeah, you're gonna need us.
Yeah, we're gonna have to read some paperwork.
Yeah, you need the white man paperwork right now.
Yes, you do.
So let us go ahead and fill this out in triplicate, and we'll see if we can keep you out of prison. But I guess she's too big, and then the good PR bump you get from dropping them, I think that helps too with people. So all right, that's it for the Diddy stuff. Let's get into some other stuff. Let me play some more music here. All right, that's a new infrared crypto beat. So this isn't like something I saved the article, but it's just certain things I want to talk about. So it might be a little talky episode.
Okay.
But we watched I watched some of the debate. I did not watch all of the debate. I know it's been 4 or 5 days of hot takes since the debate. So maybe everybody's already moved on and don't give a fuck anymore. But I know a few people hit me up on social to be like, man, I really wanted to hear your opinion on it. And I did talk about it a bit on the Karen Hunter show as well. Karen, you didn't watch it at all, right? Right. I think all of us know already how we're voting. And I don't think this is a matter of us being like, a good or bad performance was going to change who I decided to vote for.
No, it does not. And I'm not knocking people that this is their jam. I just stay off social media because for a lot of political people, this is their Super Bowl, and they pop the popcorn, pop the wine, like they glued to their seats. They like, yes, this is my motherfucking jam, all up and down my timeline. All these educated people with all these letters behind their names and shit. Great. I don't give a fuck. I know who I'm gonna vote for. This is not going to make or break who I'm gonna vote for. I'm good. This is just me speaking.
Yeah, it's a very I think that's the disconnect that I was having is that I mean everything's content, and watching that debate where I thought Biden was obviously really bad, especially in the beginning. I did check back later during that throughout because I was watching like the Fever were playing somebody, the Seattle Storm, and they was getting smashed. And so during commercials and stuff, I checked back in to see like, okay, what they up to now. But the reason I checked out wasn't even about Biden's performance. That I like It was the I did not realize CNN had agreed to no fact checking
I,
in the as the like terms of the arrangement between it. And also obviously this means to me Biden's team agreed to it as well, which I think is a huge miscalculation
mhm.
because Trump's going to lie for so long and so often. I don't think a candidate can correct that many lies. I think, and also get across their point of what, like, their answer to the, like, if I said, what are you going to do about immigration? And then Donald Trump lies for 2 minutes, and I go, your response, a lot of your response is going to be like, well, he just lied about this, and he lied about this, and he lied about that, and he lied about this, and he lied about that. What am I gonna do about mine? Oh, I'm out of time. You know,
Yeah,
so like,
yes,
I know that benefits Trump's like bullshit per second meter.
yes. And when you told me that, I was like, oh, even a better reason not to watch.
Yeah,
Because
that's cool. I mean,
in my opinion, it was just going to be a shit show. And so I'm like, for me personally, it's like the news station did a disservice to the populace, to the general public. Like, you actually, it was a disservice. I know people would have shitted on Biden, but Biden would have been better off going, if y'all not gonna fact check, why am I here? You're not gonna waste my time. He can have a debate over there, I can have a debate over here. We ain't got to do this.
yeah, I remember when Trump agreed to do it, I was surprised because Trump obviously didn't debate any of his Republican primary candidates at all. And we know that he has like a lot of, criminal like shit against him right now. Like, it's easy to kind of like, point out his flaws. But I realized then it's like, oh, he agreed to this because the format is perfect.
Right.
And it was perfect for him. So I thought he ran lying circles around not just Biden, but the whole format. Like, it was just, I can lie, I can lie, I can lie. And it was like bombastic lies that obviously weren't true. Like, it was just, I had the greatest everything, Biden has the worst everything. I think what really made me change the channel was when he said people were having abortions, and it was including babies that were actually being born, and then the doctors take the baby to the side and kill them, and that's legal in some democratic states. I think he said Virginia.
That's murder.
And the fact, when they just cut it back and just said, President Biden, how would you respond? I was like, oh, this is about getting the best like TV, but it's not about getting the best debate or the best answers. And so it was kind of frustrating, but I just dipped out. I think the other part is a lot of people consume the debate via Twitter. So while they'll say like, I didn't watch the debate, no, but they watch their timeline react to it. They watch their timeline tweet about it. They watch their timeline share clips and stuff like that. And Twitter's a hyper political, hyper online populace. And so and of course liberals are very prone to disasterbation. So it turned into that immediately and just never looked back. Now I will say 24 hours, 12 hours later, even by the morning, people were like, at least black people, I can't speak for the whites, but black Twitter was very much like, yeah, so we said we voting for this dude and that's it. Like, what the fuck y'all want to do? Let Trump win?
Right.
And white Twitter was, because I think they have a little less skin in the game, was prone to a lot of theoretical, like, what if we put another candidate in right now with 4 months left to go, and that candidate not be Kamala Harris, obviously, because no one likes her for no reason. We don't have a reason they don't like her. She's just a bad vice president. And she at once is unlikable, but also at once is underutilized, but also at once is extremely competent, but also at once not competent at all. And so we will have to skip over her, and we'll put Gretchen Whitmer, Gavin Newsom, some white person. Obviously, we'll put a white person. No one mentioned Cory Booker. No one mentioned, like no one mentioned any other black person to do it. It will be a white person that will take the lead spot, and they will run on Biden's accomplishments, even though they haven't been in his administration. They'll run on his accomplishments and his accomplishments and administration is very good. People do want more of that. They just don't want it from him because he's old, despite, winning and beating all these people in the primary and all that stuff. Fuck all that. This is the time to just switch them out. I know people will not see that as racial. Black people who listen right now understand what I'm saying. White people, for the most part, will not be able to understand how offensive what they're proposing is.
Right.
But it is so offensive. I honest to God think that is the only way the Democrats lose. Now, I know for white folks listening, they think, no, the only way they lose is running Biden. I promise you, I swear to God, if they skip over Kamala Harris, it is a fucking wrap.
Yes.
Because the most loyal voter base in the Democratic Party is black women. And they run shit. Look all throughout the appointments, the cabinets. Look at those judges that were been selected. It's not a coincidence. Even with this administration, the student loan idea is Kamala Harris's idea.
Yeah, he never
Joe
ran
Biden
on that.
did not run on that.
Nobody. When people say that, I'm like, y'all do know he never ran on this shit, y'all.
And if you truly do believe like I believe, which is that democracy is on the ballot, meaning that if Trump wins, I don't know if we're ever having free open elections again after what he's expressed that he wants to do.
Right.
And I feel like he's an existential threat to not just our nation, but to all nations. And there's no issue with Biden that Trump is better on.
Right.
Like every issue that people claim to care about, Trump would be worse for the country and for the cause, right? So I didn't think the debate would change anything. In many cases, it can only hurt Democrats because, whenever people say so-and-so had a bad debate, go look up or go start listening to when people say people had a bad debate. It's typically them saying it's a Democrat that had a bad debate. Like it's Obama had a bad debate, so because there's a standard on that side of like, you don't lie, you have to also look funny, competent, witty, all this stuff. And the other guy, he can be a felon. We're not writing there's no op-ed saying Trump, for the good of America, needs to step down.
Yes.
Because this guy's a convicted felon at this point. No, but Biden somehow was, out of the goodness of his heart, supposed to step down, hand over his administration, not to Kamala Harris, but someone else. And then somehow that'll give us the fighting chance to beat Trump. Which, as I've said in the past, I actually do believe Biden's going to beat Trump. This did not change anything for me. And the reason I believe it is not because of just like Joe Biden. I just like, it's not specific to Joe Biden's competence. It is specific to his old white manness.
Yes.
The only thing that is, I hate to say it this way because I don't dislike Biden at all. It's just the only thing I've seen that can compete with Trump is another old white man, because we will not hold them to the same standards. There's so many things that are just a death knell for any other candidate that's not an old white man.
Yep.
Oh, you're gay? You can't make that mistake.
You're a woman?
You're a woman. You can't make that mistake. You can't say that thing. You got to be presidential, blah, blah. But we see white maleness as presidential by default. It's all Donald Trump is at this point. Like, there's nothing presidential about him. But he's the ultimate example of, I'm a white man. This belongs to me, and no one can tell me different. And if I believe it, then you must believe it. So he has none of the work to show that at least Biden does have. But I understood the dismay. I didn't like shout at people. I still don't get. I'm still not into and maybe I'll get this place at some point, but I'm not into the shouting at people because I disagree. But I do feel very strongly about our allies and fellow voters that at the first sign of trouble or whatever are like ready to turn tail. This is fundamentally why I will always go back to the voters. I don't blame politicians. I blame voters.
Yes.
We are our own worst enemy.
Yes.
Because we know what to do. We know the right things to do. We talk ourselves out of the right things to do. And at the same time, we watch as Republicans don't do that. And then when they win, we go, why can't we be like them? We can. I don't think it's a cult of Biden or whatever. In a strange way, I think people don't realize this. The Republicans aren't actually a cult of Trump.
Mm-mm.
They're like there's some people who are MAGA Trump people.
A small
A
percentage.
lot of those people aren't really Republicans, and they weren't really voters before Trump. Those people are, but that's not the vast majority of that party that goes along with that. Those people just want the power.
Yes.
They want their people to be in charge, and more important than that to them is they don't want us to be in charge. They don't want our people to be in charge.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand why we don't return that energy, because it's that simple to me.
Mm-hmm.
Put up a Democrat who's better than a Republican. I don't have any qualms. I will vote for you every time, because one of them's going to be president. And I'm going to pick the one that I think is going to be better for everybody, period. And so I've just found that reaction to be very turntail, go home. Now it's, maybe by the time this time that people hear this, they're like, oh no, we panicked, but we're fine. We understand what has to happen now. But I thought that shit was real weak-willed, spineless shit to hear people like, we got to replace him. We need a meeting right now. And I was reading an article today that was like, they had a meeting and they had people call in, and they didn't let people leave comments, and they didn't say anything about replacing Biden. And some of the people in the, that were calling in, they were very upset that wasn't even talked about. And I was like, that is the best news I've heard out of this.
Yes.
Is that I think the dude that ran in South Carolina lost Jamie something. He's like one of the people that's part of the DNC right now. And he said, they were like, yeah, he didn't even bring it up. And I said, right. Why the fuck would
it's
you?
Stupid.
Because let me tell you what happened when Trump got convicted. They didn't have no RNC meeting where they brought up, should we replace him? Are we not even going to talk about it?
They don't even talk about that.
They don't have to talk about it. They know what they're in lockstep. That's what the fuck I am. I meant it. So I don't think, maybe because I don't come across as like a hateful piece of shit, because I'm not.
Right.
But maybe because of that, people don't understand. I mean every word of this. I hate Trump.
Yes, I do. I hate him.
I hate him. And voting against him is enough.
Yes, it is. I don't need anything else.
I've never needed. People go, well, don't you need to be inspired by a candidate? I guess I am. I'm inspired by Trump to be like, fuck that.
Yes. And like I said, this for me, this is one of the reasons why, like I said, I stay offline. I don't watch the debate because people get really stupid when it comes to these types of things, and they do things that actually makes my intellect hurt, makes my brain hurt. It doesn't make sense. Y'all just talking and it doesn't make sense to me. So I'll just tap out and let y'all have it. And then when it comes to November, just cast my vote.
I'm also not. Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
I thought you were done. My bad.
No problem, because listening to what you were saying, that's stupid. Nobody else would require that. Put like this, if Joe Biden had a white man, would y'all still make this same request? No.
If Joe Biden had a white man
as his vice president, would you still make the same request to skip Kamala Harris? No, you would not. So, like shit like that just irritates me.
It doesn't make sense either, because like I was talking to a good friend about this, and I think she's probably been talking to some white folks about this, or maybe some younger people about this, or a certain type of progressive. I don't know. But there is this thing that is happening about Kamala Harris that I just simply think is racism and misogyny, and people keep talking around it like they're trying to trick me out of what I see.
Right.
And so it goes like this. Kamala Harris, we loved when she was in all those Senate hearings, going in on Republicans. That's how she rose to prominence. Many people were like, oh, I love her. She doesn't take no shit. She knows everything. And she will fucking cross-examine you like a lawyer and have you out here looking like a fucking fool. And I love her, right? She runs for president. As she's running for president, the most misinformation from Russia was directed at her.
Yes.
And it worked. I saw it work and sadly, it worked on a lot of black people.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
And all that shit. Yes.
Some of them are still brainwashed to this day about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like spreading misinformation and lies. But it worked. But it worked in a very specific way in which When she was running for president, they were anti her.
Yes.
When Biden needed to pick a vice president from the field, they were like, he better pick her.
Yes, and I hate to stop you here. That pissed me the fuck off. You were more excited about her being second place than first. I don't understand that. And now you're the voting populace for the Democratic Party is 99.9% of black women who vote Democrat. Like, right. You might have a small percentage vote otherwise. This is my thing. Treat us like our votes matter and treat us like we have power. Because y'all the same niggas that was like dancing all up and down my timeline. Thank you for saving us in Georgia and all this bullshit. Well, then you want us to come and quote unquote get you out of the mess that you created. We didn't create this mess. You created this mess because at the end of the day, who's in office boils down to the populace and how they vote and who they put in office. And unless you take personal responsibility for that, it's hard to move past this point. Everybody wants to blame everybody except for the populace who is accountable for casting their votes, for the people that can vote, because a lot of people can't vote for various different reasons. And a lot of that is because who's in office. They want to disqualify people. They want to make you show your ID. They want to do all this shit because they want the least amount of people voting. They want you to be disenfranchised. They want you to have this apathy. That's the whole point, so that you will give up and it won't matter. And also a lot of younger people have a tendency to fall for that shit. But when you get older and you've been through enough elections and you know how the system runs and shit like this, you go, it's a war. I understand, but baby, it's gonna always be a war. It will always be a war. I don't need a perfect candidate in order for me to vote. Is Biden perfect? No, but bitch, the other person gonna make it worse.
Yeah. So that. So like I said, I was talking to my friend about this, and it was like it's this weird chicken or egg thing that happens, and I know the answer to this. It isn't the chicken or the egg. I know what the answer is. It's racism, but it starts with, okay, so we didn't like her when she was trying to be president. Okay, vice president. Okay, that's a great idea. Sure up the black woman vote. Okay, cool. She was also his toughest debate opponent. Like, no one ever forget that moment, right? But her student loans, her idea. Black maternal health, her idea. Yet they're not talked about like they're her ideas, right? And I'm not saying that strictly from a PR standpoint. I'm just saying, like, no matter, like, they put her out, she talks about these issues, she goes on the talking tour more than Biden does.
Yes, she does.
And yet people say stuff like, where is she? She's not out there.
Right.
And she is out there, right? But what I find interesting is they'll say at once, okay, she's unlikable. Look at her pose. She's unlikable. They started this from day one. She's unlikable. No one likes her. It was like the second after they won, which everyone said they wouldn't do. The second after they beat Trump, it switched from, oh my God, y'all saved us, to no one likes Kamala Harris, period, right? So when you go, but why is she unlikable? They don't have a reason.
Right.
She's competent. She's well-spoken. She's savvy. They love her no-nonsense attitude. She also, can key and party. She's attractive. All the things that typically we like in a politician. Mm-hmm. But to me, it's like, when you can't say why you don't like somebody,
and give me a logical,
my antenna goes up.
Yes.
Because I know what that means. Is the reason is I can't tell you.
Right.
And the reason I can't tell you is because I don't want you to think about me in the way that you're going to think about me when I tell you why. So they just, I don't know. It's the same reason Obama wasn't trustworthy for some reason.
I got a feeling.
Yeah, he was too slick. It's that shit. And so at least in my lifetime, we've never done the where's the vice president
ever.
Like, even when we knew a vice president was running the country, we didn't expect Dick Cheney to be out here delivering speeches. No one gave a fuck about it. Right. Dan Quayle, no one gave a fuck about that. Like, the only thing a vice president could do was fuck it up. They could never help. Like, it was always like, the vice president is going to be a person that hopefully is competent but is not needed. Like, it's not, meanwhile Kamala Harris is, of course, delivered the most tie-breaking votes in Senate history, all that stuff as vice president. But I find it interesting because they'll say, well, she's unlikable, so that's why she can't be president. Okay, cool. And then you go, well, the other reason she can't be president is because the Biden campaign, the Biden administration, they put her in a bad position. They're not putting her out there enough. And I go, okay, let's say that's true. Why wouldn't they put her out there? And it goes back to because she's unlikable. But why is she unlikable?
Right.
We're coming right back to the same fucking point. And it feels to me the same way it felt for Stacey Abrams.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody loved what she could do for the men who won their seats. Warnock and Assoff, I think was their names.
Mm-hmm.
They love what they could do. They love what she did for them. Oh, right. She saved us. She the Georgia. Mm-hmm. But when it was her turn to run,
right,
people all of a sudden those margins, they stayed home. Now it wasn't enough. Killer Mike all of a sudden is meeting with the incumbent governor, mm-hmm. Telling us how he's a good dude. Like it just, I can't unsee it. I wish, and I'm not the type to run on here and just be like everything's racist or everything's misogyny. Mm-hmm. I'm saying, show me how it's not.
Right.
Because any plan that goes around her because she's unpopular is essentially the fucking problem. Like they don't know it because they don't even think about us. Mm-mm. But the second they do that shit, then you're gonna find out what unpopular really looks like. When because it's not just gonna be us. It's gonna be a shit ton of black folks. It's like, oh, I'm out.
Yes.
It's not gonna be that. Like right now, you got people grinning and bearing it, which is why I say Biden is the candidate, because he's an old white man. And everybody I'm gonna listen to complain about him is gonna tell me at the end of the day, yeah, I'm still gonna vote for him.
Agreed.
Because he's an old white man. Meanwhile, I just feel like if they skip over Kamala, you're gonna have a lot of black people who are politically active, who will feel a level of betrayal.
Yes, they will.
They have not ever felt.
And they will be highly upset.
Yeah, because I don't think they're necessarily party loyalists, and we don't trust Democrats that much more than Republicans when it comes to like racism and shit, because we know that there's just different types of racism. I'm not saying they're equal, but I'm saying like there's an allyship where we both want something and we come together under this big tent to get it, which is power in the presidency and these policies. But if you violate that trust, I feel like black folks are like prepared to be out. Like, oh, okay, then cool.
Y'all don't give a fuck. All right.
So it's just, I found it to be interesting that discussion afterwards. Mm-hmm. Everything else, I don't care. Yeah. It was so weird to see like the next day he was giving a speech looking tanned and rested and full of energy. And I was like, okay, so I don't know what happened the night before Biden. Yeah. I don't know what happened the night before, but clearly this was it's so weird to watch 3.5 years of a really good administration and people get this one moment like I'm abandoning ship, and it's just like, what the fuck are we doing?
Right. And and it is one of those things where a lot of people would be disenfranchised, particularly a lot of black women that voted for her to be president and was like, okay, cool. Okay, y'all don't want it as president. Okay, we'll take second place. We want it first, but we'll be, like you said, being in grin and bear second place. But if something was to happen to him and y'all look us in our face and stiff arm us, all hell gonna break loose across the country.
Now let me do some future predictions. Because obviously everyone thought this was a bad look, including me. I thought especially the part I watched, I thought it went horrible. I thought the decision to even do this debate looks ridiculous in hindsight, especially knowing those rules. But this is probably the best thing that could have happened for Joe Biden and them. And I mean this sincerely. This is not me trying to just like spin it. They raised more money than Trump since this. I think it's $35 million, which as an incumbent is kind of hard because people start feeling like, oh, we can rest on our laurels. It'll be all right. He gonna just cruise to this victory. We don't need to be worried. Motherfuckers are now on the edge of their seat. Like, goddamn, we need to pay attention to every little detail of this race. Mm-hmm. So I think that's good. They have another debate scheduled in September. People are like, he shouldn't do it. He should do it. Here's why I think he should do it. I truly do believe this is a one-off. I don't think that means you know, Joe Biden's gonna be like showing up like a young man or no shit like that. But I truly believe you can't have a worse debate than what he had tonight, last week, period. We saw him give the State of the Union, which also takes place at that time of night. And that was this year, and people was like, God damn, I don't know, maybe we was wrong, maybe he do got it. So you just gonna have to do that shit. And I really think that'll help. End of the day, obviously debates don't change votes. They don't really seem to matter for the most part, other than political content and discourse and all that stuff. But I think you do this debate because the floor is so low, you'll clear it. It's kind of like how I thought Obama won that debate against Romney that everyone said he had low energy, is a bad debate. Because I was listening to the substance of the answers and I was like, but he was right about everything.
Because you was listening.
Right. And I think where the miscalculation was optically was we didn't want to have Barack Obama come off like a over eager, naive, but also sort of angry black man who was being attacked by this white dude, and then he flipped out on him or was, like raising his voice and all that stuff. So I think Obama chose to have like a more reserved, like statesman approach, and people didn't like it. And I watched it and was like, but he on the points, everything he said was right. Now, nope, I don't like it. He lost that debate, but it helped because a guy who's as good an orator as Obama, having a high ceiling is always going to be a problem because we're expecting him to clear the ceiling. Having a floor, he jumped right over that shit the next debate, and everybody was like, oh, now that's the one. So maybe you'll get that. Once again, I don't think those debates change the outcome of the election. I don't think this one would either. Yeah, but I've just been finding it very interesting, the response to it. But I think that's my prediction. I could be wrong, but I think going forward, this is probably one of the best things that happened to Biden, because now every time he shows up and he's not essentially like stumbling over himself, people will be like, oh, okay, he figured it out.
And also, and this is just me on the outside looking in, I think people are addicted to the emotional roller coaster that this brings to their timeline. They're addicted to, oh, this is what everybody's talking about. Because not trying to funny, a lot of people that participated don't give a fuck. They were just in it, just saying shit, just talking, because it was something to quote unquote do type of thing. And so, like I said, you're going to get people that are highly educated, that are like, hey, y'all, like actually educating people. And I appreciate them, do your job. But then you're going to have a percentage of people that are very ignorant and don't know anything, don't even know how the three branches of the government or how the government fucking functions, coming on and just saying stupid shit. And like I said, and one thing, and like you talking about racism, one thing I realized about all those think pieces, a lot of those are probably, I don't know, but I'm assuming a lot of those are white folks trucking out all these opinion piece articles. Last time I checked, I ain't seen no Negroes.
Yeah, it was so wild. Articles. It was so wild because not that I would put it past a black person. The thing is, Karen, to be a black person that writes for like the New York Times op-ed, you're a certain type of black person. So
Agreed.
Your opinions are probably going to mirror closer to what white folks think. And I don't mean that to denigrate any of those black folks that get that job, but that's the process. They do an interview with you. They're not letting me in that door. They're letting you in that door for a reason. But it is so telling that there's nothing Trump can do that can make the New York Times put out 4 op-eds in a row that he needs to step down. Oh, there's nothing. Like the insurrection wasn't that. There's literally nothing. And I'm sorry if people can't understand where I'm coming from on this, but it makes me more angry. This stuff like this makes me want to fight harder. I'm not turning tail. I'm not ducking. I'm not coming home. Like,
I ain't scared.
Now we're riding harder because this is when the ride really starts. And I saw this clip floating around on Twitter that I thought was pretty good. It was on, I think, CNN.
All of these pundits and pollsters and analysts that you see on all the cable channels and all the networks have no track record in predicting elections. And yet they come on and they claim they know how this debate is going to.
This is Alan Lichtman. He's correctly predicted like something like the last 9 presidents or something. He has him and his organization had this like 13 point, like, it's not a poll. It's like a 13 point, like, if you have these 13 points on your side, you will win the presidency, or whoever has the most of them. And so he's been right 9 times or some shit like that. And so, or maybe it's 7, but whatever it is, they brought him on to talk about it. Now, this is on CNN. I think it's important to mention CNN is the channel that agreed to no fact checking. Right. CNN is the channel that I believe David Zaslav, the dude that everybody hates because of how he's done WB and HBO Max and all that shit. Who they I think he owns or runs CNN now too. So like it's some like it's there, and CNN's been very openly publicly about like we want to get conservative viewers. So we're getting rid of like the liberal.
They're not coming, baby. They OAN or whatever Fox.
And not just getting rid of not just getting rid of like liberal talking points, liberal like hosts and progressives and Democrats. No, I mean they're doing stuff like actively being like, we're not fact checking anymore.
Right.
To the point where like they got mad at Don Lemon when I think it was like Vivek Ramaswamy or something. Like whoever came on there was like talking about racism and he just checked them like, no, that's not true.
Right.
And they were like, Don Lemon got like scolded for that. He was not supposed to do that. They were supposed to let the Republican come on, say whatever he wanted, don't check it, and then just be like, it's up to the viewers to decide for themselves. So I'll say all that to put this in the proper context that even though this sister, I think it was the same sister that interviewed Cameron, even though this sister is doing the hosting, there's a reason you're about to hear the questions she's saying, despite the answers and the expertise he has. And that's supposed to be the reason they brought him on, is for his expertise over these other people. Okay.
Affect the outcome of elections. They have no idea. It's sports talk radio. It may be entertaining, but it has no scientific basis.
So what is the impact, you think?
Zero. Debates are not predictive of outcomes. Hillary Clinton won all 3 debates, still lost. John Kerry won all the debates, still lost. Barack Obama got trounced, 72 to 20% in the poll, worse than Biden, and went on to win. That's why we rely on the 13 keys which tap into the structure of how elections really work. And they show that Democrats' really only chance to win, contrary to everything you've heard, is with Biden running. Look at the incumbency key. Biden checks that off. The contest key, he checks that off. He was uncontested. It takes 6 keys to count out the White House party.
But you know,
that means
Alan,
of the remaining 11 keys, 6 would have to fall. Let me finish.
Yeah.
Biden doesn't run. They lose the contest key. They lose the incumbency, and only 4 more keys would have to fall.
I think that that's actually kind of what I was trying to get at here, is that the problem right now is that the Democratic Party is considering replacing Biden mostly because it's unclear whether or not he actually physically can carry out the rest of this campaign and put up a fight against his opponent. So that seems like a fundamentally different thing than some of the items that you have in your rubric.
Girl, if you don't get out of here.
They're not doctors. They don't know whether Biden is physically capable of carrying out a second term or not. Remember, a lot of folks were saying the same thing about Ronald Reagan, who was, 73, and age was very different then. And they said, he's not capable of carrying out another term. He won 49 states. So this is all foolhardy nonsense. The same pundits and pollsters who led us down the primrose path in 2016 are giving the Democrats horrible advice. This proves what I've been saying for years. Republicans have no principles. Democrats have no spine. Republicans are sticking with a blatant liar who lied for every 1 minute and 20 seconds of that debate. Donald Trump put out a lie. And by the way, lies stick. Debate performances can be overcome. And now the first sign of adversity, the spineless Democrats want to throw under the bus their own incumbent president. My goodness.
Mm-hmm. Yes, white man, I 100% agree with you. I agree with you. And that's the when me and Roger talk, that's the shit we be talking about. Anytime anything happen, y'all motherfuckers buckle, y'all bend, y'all cry, y'all flop, y'all want to give up, y'all want to take y'all bags and motherfucking go home. You want to talk about everything, but the shit that matters is your ass motherfucking voting.
Yeah. It's like I said, I thought he was on point because that's the mantra I've been saying for this like whole election cycle. It ain't about Biden. And when people try to say it's just like Trump, it's a cult. I'm like, it ain't. No, because that cult, the cult part of that movement is about Trump. This one I'm talking about is like, nah, we're not giving shit away. I'm not giving the country back to the people that had an insurrection.
Right.
And they said DNC chairman Jamie Harrison and Biden campaign manager Julie Chavez Rodriguez held a Saturday afternoon call with dozens of committee members across the country, a group of some of the most influential members of the party. They largely ignored Biden's weak showing Thursday night or the avalanche of criticism that followed. Multiple committee members on the call, most granted anonymity to talk about the private discussion, described feeling like they were being gaslighted, that they were being asked to ignore the dire nature of the party's predicament. The call, they said, may have worsened the widespread sense of panic among elected officials, donors, and other stakeholders. A lot of may have, a lot of they said, a lot of won't put my name on it, which is another sign of weakness.
Yeah, say it with your goddamn chest if you're going to say it. And at the end of the day, if you're smart, you're going to vote for Biden.
Instead, the people said Harrison offered what was they described as a rosy assessment of Biden's path forward. The chat function was disabled and there was no questions allowed. I was hoping for a more substantive conversation instead of, hey, let's go out there and be cheerleaders, without actually addressing a very serious issue that unfolded on American television for millions of people to see, said Joe Salazar, an elected DNC member from Colorado who was on the call. There were a number of things that could have been said in addressing the situation, but we didn't get that. We were being gaslit.
What the fuck they was gonna tell you? Then with 4 months, do you really think they would fucking overturn and put somebody in there with 4 months? If something happens to him, all that's gonna happen is Kamala Harris is going to run, and she's gonna run unchallenged. The fuck is this? Like what y'all are asking for is very idiotic, and what y'all are asking for is a disruption. It's a disruption to what do you want to win or not? Like, this is the thing that kills me. Republicans are like, go big, go home. And that's been their motto. Bitch, we gonna win. If it take us 50 years, bitch, we gonna stand here, stand our ground, and we gonna fight and claw. I'm gonna die. My kid gonna pick up the mantle. They gonna die. Their kid gonna pick up the mantle. It don't matter. We gonna win this shit. We like, oh, I got to go outside in the heat. Nah, I'm good. I got to leave my house. I got to get off social media. Nah, I'm good. I got to look my fellow brothers and sisters and family members in the face and say, nigga, what the fuck is wrong with you? Get your black ass out there and vote. Nah, I'm good. They're not doing that. These old white people will be on their goddamn deathbed. They will strap their oxygen mask to their back and take their asses up there, pull that lever, and die the second later. They don't care. We don't have that in us. We don't. Well, anytime something happens, we like, oh Lord.
Well, I mean, the people. So it's interesting, Karen. You say that, but I also feel like we can be complicit in the misinformation and the tenor of this conversation, because I understand, respect, and agree with everything you just said. But is that happening? For example, they did a poll after the debate. While people felt Trump outperformed Biden, the favorability ratings remained unchanged. Meaning, I think there's a lot of us who are like, we don't give a fuck. I know there's some loud people on social media. I know there's loud people in the pundit space, but as that man just said, Alan Lichtman, that's sports talk. That's the who won the game. That's LeBron versus Jordan. How many times have we talked about on the show, is our media reflective of our on the ground situation? Is Twitter reflective of it? How many, the last one I want to make on this, and I promise I'll move on to something else, but they didn't install Joe Biden.
Right. He went through the process.
Joe Biden beat everybody
that y'all could have voted for. And I will continue to say this.
Yeah.
Everything was on the board. The gay, the woman, LGBT, like everything was on the board. Y'all had a problem with everybody.
Yeah. They didn't install him. He beat them.
Yes.
It is what it is.
And if I win, I'm not giving it. Why would I give it to you?
What they are proposing is that you somehow run on the accomplishments of his administration. meaning that you guys do understand his administration has accomplished a lot of things, because y'all think you can win with another candidate who goes, I'm just gonna keep doing what he's doing for the most part, right? I find it interesting that people keep acting like this was something was done to us. Like we just looked up and Joe Biden was president. We're like, what happened? No, I remember everybody looking through the recounts praying. I have friends who almost drove me insane texting me. I had to turn the group chat off because they were texting me so much about, man, I don't know, man, if he wins, they recounting Atlanta, they recounting in Georgia, they recounting. I was like, guys, he got this. He actually won already. It's
Yeah, they're just
like
bullshitting.
like the last county left was Cobb County. It's over. Then he had some more wins with Arizona and shit. I don't mean to be a dick, but everything I said was gonna happen that happened. That last election, it was what it was. Like, I'm trying not to get. I don't get caught up in the emotionality of it because it just that serves me no purpose, and so there's no point to it. Republicans also have a lot of disarray. It's just not covered that way. So we don't talk about, any erosion of their voters. We don't talk about
not having money.
We just don't talk about it. But I really do think Biden's still going to win this thing. I think the debate is going to help because it was bad. And then people will go, oh my God, he does need our help. And that'll get some people on board. And also, honest to God, we need to have this conversation about the replacement shit. I'm glad we're having it right now.
Right.
Because what I'm starting to see is people speak up and go, shut the fuck up. Like those guys who did Pod Save America, who are like half a Trump supporter anyway. Those dudes tried to do we got to replace them. And then immediately as the comments and everybody starts smacking them down, they start tampering it back, reeling it back in. I think the Democratic Party does need to have this discussion, and I don't think it's going to go the way a lot of people think it wants to go, because name the replacement and I'll tell you why they won't win.
Right.
I'm going to tell you straight up. Like, if you replace them with anybody but Kamala Harris, you're going to have a black revolt of people that's like, well, fuck it then. I guess we just going to beat Trump. Y'all are just as bad as the Republicans. That's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to me now, believe me later on.
Right. Like,
and if you put Harris in charge, all the white people that would have held their nose and voted for Biden, who don't really like, they don't really like him, but it's grandpa for them.
Right.
Okay. Like, they still gonna find a way to be like, oh God, I guess I'll vote for him. They did it already one time. Mm-hmm. They'll do it again. We know them better than they know themselves. But if it's Kamala, they won't.
Yes.
If it's Kamala, those same white people will find the excuse. It'll be Hillary all over again. I just didn't like, it wouldn't matter what she said, didn't matter that a Supreme Court justice was on the line. None of it mattered. They were just like, I just can't do it for some reason. Man, I just didn't like her.
Yeah, they won't. They
will do that shit to Kamala. Biden's the only motherfucker that can win. And that's not like I say, it's really more about just the demographic he's in than him as a candidate. But and I think he's a good candidate, but it's just, I don't think it's about his policies and his what he's done. It's really just optics for a lot of folks, and they'll vote for grandpa. But yeah, I just want to reiterate, because people say that shit, and I think it's one of the dumbest thing people say is this, well, I mean, the DNC put Biden in. No, I took my black ass out and voted.
I sure did.
You took your ass out and voted. You voted. Who'd you vote for? The DNC installed your vote? No, you went and voted. Right. You didn't have to vote.
Primary like everybody else.
Did they install Hillary or did she win? Like that's what it is. What would have been an installation, and I know motherfuckers gonna hate to hear this, but this is the truth. It would have been an installing of like Bernie Sanders. It would have taken, that would have been having to install a candidate, because like you made no inroads in the party. You don't belong to anything. You just came in, took over and said, I'm the candidate. And we went, fuck it, guys, he's the candidate. That's what the RNC let happen with Trump.
Yes, they did.
Where they basically was like, all right, fuck it, we're not putting up a fight for real. Just give it to him. There's a fervor around him, and we just ain't trying to like stop the shit. We just completely handing our party over to this guy, including the money.
DNC was like, you don't belong here. Wrote each other like he don't belong here. He don't fuck with us. But we supposed to let him come in and ramshack our party.
I just want to make sure the words are chosen carefully right here, because they didn't like do anything illegal. They didn't rig it against them. They didn't like he got the same treatment any candidate gets, but at the end of the day, the party is the party.
Yes.
The party was always going to end up picking someone from within their party, because we have never really seen that happen except for Trump. And look where the fuck that got us.
Right.
So they didn't like break a rule or do anything unfair. They just was like, at the end of the day, we're going to end up voting for people that's been here. Period. And who are the people that vote? All of us. So I'm just saying, this man is not like being forced on America. It's literally, this is all America will take. Now, I think it's a damning statement on America.
Agreed.
Who we think we are versus what we will do.
Yes.
Because we think we one thing, but y'all ain't voting for nobody but a white man.
Right.
There's no reason Trump, if America is what America says it is, there's no reason Trump will even be on the ballot.
Nope.
But we're not. This is what we are. People that think we're a liberal place and all that PR that we have out spreading democracy and shit. No, we're not.
Yeah, they're eating up the hype.
We're an empire.
Yes.
We're a militaristic machine.
Mm-hmm.
We're a capitalistic construct. Like this is not the lies that people tell the kids in school so the kids can feel good about wearing a flag on their chest.
Right. And saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
But that doesn't mean we get to abdicate responsibility. And I think the most responsible thing is for Biden right now. But yeah, that debate was a lot, and I don't blame anybody that felt away. I'm not even mad at folks. I'll just say I guess to quote Optimus Prime, I guess I'm made of sterner stuff, because at no point was I watching that debate. Like when I turned it off the debate, I didn't go, well, damn, I guess it's Trump. I turned off the debate and went, oh, okay, well, I was voting for Biden anyway. Like that was it. But all right, let me see what else I wanted to talk about. I feel like there was something else I wanted to talk about. I think I'll save these. Oh, I know what it was. Yeah. Shout out to the Supreme Court. Really appreciate you guys. Y'all came through. I'll tell you how after this break. So the Supreme Court issued some rulings, not the one everyone's mostly anticipating, the immunity. Does a president have immunity ruling for Trump? That's the one everybody's really waiting on.
Mm-hmm. I'll probably do that one last for they break for their session.
Right. But they did issue some rulings, and I just want to go through them real quick. And the reason I want to shout them out is because I think a lot of people got reminded it's bigger than Biden immediately. They didn't really, when people say, man, that narrative changed within 12 hours. The reason it changed is because when you woke up on Friday, it was like, oh my God. Oh my fucking God. Oh, we can't how did this happen? Oh, in 2016, we let Trump win. And now every day you wake up and you see Supreme Court and the headline of an article, your fucking heart skips a beat. Mm-hmm. So they got the Louisiana, they're trying to get a law in Louisiana that says, hey, you are required to display the 10 Commandments in the classroom. They're trying to get that to go to the Supreme Court. ACLU is challenging it. It will end up in the Supreme Court. Mm-hmm. What do you think this court is going to rule?
Oh, they're going to say it's fine.
Right. What do you think this court is going to rule? And keep in mind, this is not really about the 10 Commandments. It's just a piece of paper. Who gives a fuck? Mm-hmm. It's about what they're signaling. This is a Judeo-Christian nation. Yep. And we will make sure that it is seen as such. Freedom of religion just for this one.
All the rest
fuck everybody else.
Yeah, the rest don't be damned.
And by freedom, we mean the ability to discriminate.
Yes. Okay. Any way we choose to.
So you got that. They also threw out the Chevron decision, which undercuts federal regulators, which is basically saying if we have for, I think, 40 years at this point. Yeah, so it was 1984 that we had Chevron. So we have treated it as precedent, basically, for 40 years, that if a federal agency regulates something or has an expertise in something, they come into a courtroom, that expertise should be treated with more deference than just say a one-off judge. So for example,
because it's something they work in all the time. This is their field.
Right. For example, if the FDA comes in and says this river is being polluted by this company, here are the standards we use to measure pollution. That's how we know the river's polluted, and that's how we know that it's from the runoff from this factory, right?
Okay.
They are now saying, but if a judge just feels differently, there is no reason for that judge to treat the FDA's expertise as expertise. They can just go, well, that's your opinion.
Yup. But it's based in facts.
Keep in mind who's filled the court with judges ad nauseum from 2016 to 2020, Donald Trump. Many of these people ruling on his cases now, right?
Right.
Many of them, on the main requirement was that they were on a list of conservative justices that were ideologues who would just rule in the wake of like however conservatives want to rule. What I mean by that is stuff like climate change. How many of these judges just don't believe in it?
Right.
Hey, your state, let's say you felt safe. Hey, I live in a good state. We got some good rules about abortion and laws that allow it. Okay, well, what if a judge just thinks methylprednisolone or whatever you call it is not safe? Well, no, the FDA said it's safe. But yeah, I don't agree. I think it's a dangerous drug, and I don't think you should have to do it. How many things with the vaccine mandate was like, oh yeah, what the CDC said, and now a judge could be like, man, fuck the CDC. This is new. I did some research on my own, and I was listening to Joe Rogan, and it's either ivermectin or nothing. I'm throwing this regulation out. Y'all ain't got to do this. Like, that is what this case can be. It is disastrous. It's just, this is just another day under life of taking 2016 off one time. And if you don't want to have a Democrat in power to pick the next justices, you're the fool.
Right. And I did not know this. Mm-hmm. And so people need to be aware. These federal organizations, they control your food, they control your water, they control the environment you live in. They make rules and regulations on housing. They make rules and regulations on like funding going to like streets and roads. Like, these organizations do a lot. And what happens? Yeah, somebody says like somebody said planes.
Yeah.
Trains. You know, what happens when, you know, let's say something else happens, and we always have pandemics, but nothing in our lifetime was as big as COVID. But let's say we have something similar to this coming again, and they're like, hey, y'all need to get these shots, blah, 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 blah. And somebody decide now. So all of a sudden I can't have access to a vaccine because some judge somewhere in fucking Timbuktu, goddamn nowhere, has decided that it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Something that could save my life.
And yeah. And keep in mind the rulings this court has done. And one of the reasonings that one of the justices used, I don't remember if it was, I think it was Roberts, but he did the same thing with the VRA Act, with the VRA Voting Rights Act. But it was this idea of like, well, we haven't really used this precedent in a while, so it must not be useful. Which you're using your own disregard of the precedent as evidence that the precedent doesn't matter. Basically, like, well, we've just been ruling however the fuck we feel. We feel like we the experts, so we don't need this law because who goes by it? Well, not y'all, but y'all also get flued out and just happen to be ruling on behalf of the people that flew you out. So maybe you guys aren't experts as much as you guys are. Well, you know what? The next Supreme Court ruling, they narrowed bribery statutes. So basically they said that if you like held a government position or whatever, there were people that can like give you money and stuff even after you're out of office or whatever for stuff you may have done in office. There's an Indiana mayor named James Snyder. He was convicted of bribery after he accepted $13,000 from a local towing company after steering a city garbage truck contract to that business. But his attorneys argued that the money wasn't part of a quid pro quo and was instead a thank you gift. The Supreme Court agreed, finding that because there was no quid pro quo agreement that connected the trucking contract and the subsequent payment, this did not constitute a bribe. So because up front he didn't say, I need $13,000 to give you guys this contract. It was instead, I give you this contract, wink, wink. Oh, $13,000? Don't mind if I do.
That's bribery work. Nobody gonna come out and say, fucking do this. That's stupid.
Right. But when BBL Clarence is getting flued out by Harlan Crow, what do you think he's gonna rule? Ain't nothing bribery to him. In his mind, his argument is gonna always be, I was gonna vote for this ignorant shit anyway. If Harlan Crow wants to buy pay off my mama's mortgage, that okay. I was gonna do the shit anyway. You know, we do have records of him changing his opinion on things too, but he wouldn't. Well, I was gonna have that change of heart anyway. It's not a bribe. I just like taking vacations, and this guy wants to give them to me. They also ruled in a major homelessness case that outdoor sleeping bans are okay. So criminalizing homelessness, you can put these people in court. I mean, put them in jail. Black people are disproportionately homeless, just as people that, you know, just a little something, a little heads up to everybody.
I think I seen an article today that says about 50% of families that are homeless are Black.
Yeah, 48 something percent. Yep, you're absolutely right. So yeah, this is another one of those rulings that I think for a lot of people, it just snaps you back into focus because you go, wait a minute, Joe Biden. Oh no, fuck that. You know what I mean? Like, cause it's like only so much before you're like, okay, yeah, I hear what y'all saying about Joe Biden, but I can't let this Supreme Court continue like this. I can't let it get worse. It's already bad. It can get worse. And that was the problem with 2016, that so many people just didn't think it could get worse.
Right. They were bullshitting.
I know so many people, I know you're tired of politics. You're rolling your eyes. You skip this episode. Suck my dick. I don't give a fuck. This is important. This is grown-up shit. Sorry there weren't a lot of jokes today. But it's very fucking important that you don't take your foot off the gas, because we did that one time in 2016. And we're paying for it with these rulings today.
Right.
With that's before you get to all the rulings in the courts before it gets to the Supreme Court. This shit has a lot of impact that's not about that old ass man on stage. I will will him into the White House like Weekend at Bernie's. I will stick my hand up the back of his shirt like a fucking puppet and do ventriloquism if I have to, because that's what the fuck it's gonna take. Do you have in you what the fuck it's gonna take? And we're not really even asking a lot of anybody, because all we're asking people to do is vote. This is not bare minimum. I promise you, everything that happens under Trump will be much harder than you having voted. I guarantee it. You won't be assembling peacefully. You won't be marching because you didn't do that shit under Trump anyway.
Right. As soon as Trump got in the office, all that bullshit stopped.
Right. Like all this protest you see in the streets for Palestine, which I'm not against at all. You never heard us come on the show and complain about it, not once. But I know it wouldn't even happen under Trump.
Trump be like, go out there, beat them upside the head, take them to jail.
Yeah, just be deploying the National Guard on people. It is. I mean, that's the other thing. Someone was in my mentions after the day after when I made a thread about why it's just not. You can't replace Biden at this point. It is what it is. You got to roll with it. And this person was like, and I mean, look, I don't know how old they are. It felt silly and kind of naive to me, what they were saying. And I don't know this person. We don't interact. So it wasn't like a friend. It was just like a person that hopped in my mentions. But her thing was like, how can you vote for Biden after all of this or whatever? Like, and she brought up, she's like, I guess you're just okay with genocide then. I think that's what she said, which is immediately a bad faith approach to anything I've ever said. I ain't never said no dumb shit like that.
Right.
And I think what she was hoping is honestly for me to be mad, callous, triggered, defensive, and say some dumb shit like, well, fuck them people or whatever. I don't talk like that. I don't say shit like that. And I actually don't respect people that do that shit.
Right.
I know there's a lot of people that are pro Biden, pro Democrats, and they do those like super spicy TikToks and shit where they be like really dismissing the Palestinian genocide stuff as if it's just like some like it's just like another dead dog. Like fuck them then. No, I won't do that. I think it's unconscionable. I still can't believe it's still happening. And I do understand it's a difficult political situation, and that especially for Biden, because you, as much as people are like fuck APAC and all this shit, if that PAC is helping them win the office, and then all of a sudden it's not that money and that support isn't there, maybe that's how you lose the election. And people go, well, at least he had a good conscience. But yeah, this can't be no Jimmy Carter shit. We got to keep Trump out of office at all costs. So
Right.
anyway, so she was going in about this, and she kept fundamentally coming back to this question. So I guess you okay with genocide? I guess you're okay. And I'm like, we just don't see things the same, sis. It's not. I've never said I'm okay with that. But if we're going to keep it a buck, you're trying to make me seem callous because I'm going to vote for what I consider to be mitigation of the worst, even worst case scenario for not just this cause, but many other causes I believe in.
Right.
And you, to me, and this is why I said we see it different. You, to me, are the most callous of us. Because I can't imagine seeing Donald Trump get on that debate stage and say, I will tell Netanyahu and Israel to finish it.
Finish it, dog.
To finish the job. That's what he said he would tell them to do.
Right. Which means annihilate them people off the face of the earth.
He didn't have any fucking qualms. He didn't have any like, nah, we could do this. We could talk about that. He was just straight up like, nah, kill them all. Like, if you say you are against genocide, letting Donald Trump come into office is genocide. It is genocide, period. It is sad that there isn't a person in the race that can be better on the issue. Right? I get it. But this ain't Twitter. So what you're telling me, this motherfucker is worse. I can't let that happen. I think you're the one that's callous. And then she also brought up how she has long COVID. And she's like, and Biden said that the pandemic is over. And I said, first of all, Trump accelerated the pandemic, made it basically impossible for Biden and them to really do much when they came to office, because he's out here telling people inject bleach. It's not real. The China virus, using it for all of that, you know, the phobia of nationalism and stuff. He did a bunch of wild, undercut-minded CDC. Half the reason y'all don't fuck with Fauci to this day is more about Trump than Fauci, but y'all ain't ready for that conversation. But the point being, Biden has been much better on the pandemic than Trump was, period. And unfortunately, look around the globe, it ain't an American thing. No one's acting like they were March of 2020 through how, whatever, pick the country, everybody's outside. Yeah. The only countries that mask are countries that culturally were masking before.
Yeah, and they still doing it because they were already doing it.
They were already doing it. It's not like a policy thing. China gave up, and China was holding on to their citizens, you know, with an iron fist. Mm-hmm. So if those were your two issues, you're telling me you would let the guy who's worse be in charge, and you think I'm the one with you have the moral high ground?
Right.
To me, you are soft. You are the weak one. You are the one who gives up. When Sisyphus gets halfway up the slope, you like, why are we even pushing this bitch? That's you. And that's fine if that's who you want to be. But you're not going to suck me into that bullshit where I reverse my morals and be like, oh no, giving up is the right answer. Fuck you. You know, so it was.
I've lived too long.
So I think, you know, there's just been a bunch of that type of discussion. And I think the Supreme Court snaps shit back in focus for some folks. Now, people like that are nihilistic. They'll they barely voted in 2020, and they were gonna not, if they voted at all, and they were not gonna vote. Period. Anyway, like they want all the credit, none of the blame. They're not right. They're not really about that life. But Supreme Court also made it harder to charge Capitol riot defendants with obstruction because they read a part of the obstruction statute that says or. They basically said it needs to be both. Like it was you go by destroying or forging documents or showing up to try to like stop a procedure from happening. That is obstruction. They said, well, the people didn't destroy documents. They just showed up to the Capitol building. So you can't charge people with obstruction if all they did was show up to try to stop Mike Pence from ratifying, Biden as the president. Right. Once again, it's all about power, the Supreme Court justices, and the fact that Trump got to select these guys. Motherfuckers want to do it again. I'm not playing with that.
Yeah, I'm not playing. I'm not here for the games. I'm not here for the think pieces. I am like, it is literally life and death. Anybody who think this shit does not impact them, it will impact you. This list of shit that Roger went over, what you gonna do when all of a sudden you don't know if your food gonna kill you or not? What you gonna do when they make it where you might not be able to find housing? What are you gonna do when because these are the people that come in and tell other people to do their shit and get their shit right, so we don't have planes falling out the sky and bridges falling and shit. Like, what are you going to do when they basically take these organizations whose whole job it is to regulate and make sure the populace is safe?
Yep. Yeah. People think it's a game, man.
Right.
But I love that the Supreme Court did this, though. I don't love the rulings. I love the timing because it immediately goes big picture. Gives a fuck. He could be the crypt keeper. He could be a skeleton. I'm not standing down on this. Mm-hmm. This is insane what is happening to our country, and it's still happening. We can't just let it happen and then call ourselves good people, especially knowing our place in the world and what that means for everybody.
Mm-hmm. And also, like, and me and Roger talked about this, like when it came to Hillary, it was one of those things where we were gonna vote, but we was like, well, I guess no, ain't no well, I guess, bitch, vote. And I know some people like to be talked to nicely. I know some people like to, have their feelings codified and all this other bullshit. But I ain't got time to give a fuck about your feelings, bitch. I'm sorry, I just don't. I don't care. It's time for you to look in the mirror and look at yourself and be like, what matters to me? And who will make what matters to me better? If your issue is Palestine, Trump will make it worse. If your issue is war, Trump will make it worse. If your issue is poverty, Trump will make it worse. If your issue is healthcare, Trump will make it worse. There's nothing that you have on your agenda that Trump will not make worse. So what are we talking about here? And it's that simple to me. There's no if, there's no and, there's no hemming, there's no howing, there's no whataboutisms. No, baby, my feet are planted and sucking into the ground, and here I will stand. Because the thing is, I can't let my niece and them have to deal with this bullshit. Like I got family members that are younger than me that's gonna have to deal with this bullshit. Some of these laws don't impact me, but it's gonna impact them. Right. So I refuse to bow down and play around and hem and haw and act like this shit don't matter. It does.
Yep, I agree completely. Let me move into the next segment since it's already being fucked with. Let's get it all out the way, guys. Okay, we're still going.
Fucking with black people. Fucking with black people. Fucking with black people. Fucking with black people.
So did you hear about this black barbershop?
Mm-mm.
So apparently there's a black barbershop where they held like a Blacks for Trump event. And the brother went on TV and did an interview after the event was over.
Okay.
And he's claiming that he was not down with this.
Now all new at 6, the owner of Rocky's Barbershop in Atlanta says he feels he was misled
by a campaign event for former President Trump the day before the debate. Rocky Jones tells our Karis Belger he thought his Buckhead shop was just hosting a forum for Black businesses, but he says he never expected to fade into the realm of politics.
To me, cutting hair is like an art.
And smooth waves are not the only thing Rocky Jones wants his shop to be known for.
We try to specialize in just giving good service to the community. As you can see, I've been here since 17 years and it's been good.
Which is why he jumped at the chance to help other Black business owners get ahead.
Started with a text.
They're showing signs in this, and he has no profanity in Rocky's barbershop. He also has a sign that says no politics in Rocky's barbershop. We'll get back to that.
Then it went to a call because I was actually out the country, and just me agreeing to do a Black small business, roundtable. I thought it was like something real private.
It was anything.
Now, that's somebody with a Trump 2024 shirt on.
But Rocky, along with Black business owners from across Metro Atlanta, crammed into his shop, along with Trump surrogates like Ben Carson. But it wasn't all shop.
Ben Carson and Byron Daniels are sitting in there in the barbershop seat.
But this was small business?
I will. Right. Okay.
Talk.
Thinking about.
They put the screens in the background say Black Americans for Trump on the screen.
Black business in Atlanta, small Black businesses in Atlanta. And I'm like, okay, so when are we going to start talking about this?
He says a call from former President Trump during the event cut deep.
Why is the ex-president calling somebody in my barbershop? This has nothing to do with small Black businesses.
And he was left with a lot more than razor burn.
We had some calls. Thursday, we definitely got some calls, some backlash, some angry people that don't know me. And I have to deal with that. I have no involvement in politics. We don't even talk politics in my barbershop. It's all sports. Commend everybody to vote, but that's your business. I don't tell you what to do.
The number of customers, he says, has trimmed down, but he hopes the shock will fade and he can keep helping his community.
I see what you did, News. The number of customers has trimmed down and he hopes the shock will fade. That was good. I don't know why you did that during this serious ass story, but I just know Rod care.
Karis Belger, 11 Alive News.
Now, we repeatedly reached out to several representatives for the Trump campaign today about the claims that he just made. They have not responded at this time to our phone calls or email.
Okay. So go ahead, Karen. What were you going to say?
Oh, this gets to Jakaris. I don't believe you. I don't believe you at all. You had Trump surrogates there. Trust. Somebody somewhere and some email somewhere said something. And all jokes aside, you are a Black barbershop and you don't allow cussing. You are a Black barbershop and you don't allow people to talk about politics. That's all niggas talk about in the Black barbershop. So, like trying to make fun, I'm questioning it that there, and so it's one of those things where, quote unquote, let's say you didn't know. Anything that happens in your barbershop, bitch, you ought to be on top of it. Who gonna be there? And when they started giving you that list, you'd be like, the fuck they ain't.
So here's, they say we never disagree, but here's where I might disagree. And I'll walk you through my thinking. I don't put it past the Trump people in the campaign to lie about all this shit. This the Four Seasons people. This the people that did that Chick-fil-A photo op that wasn't real. They did AI Black people. This is Blacks for Trump where only white people wearing the shirts. They just did a campaign event in Detroit in a Black church. And when you actually doing the investigation, there's white people in it.
Right.
So like them getting a guy who they're like, hey, here's $4,800 to rent out your barbershop to do a Black outreach event. I can see how a person falls for that without being like a coon or complicit or on top of shit or whatever. And those contracts normally have these clauses where you can't just pull out. So like if you sign that shit and Byron Daniels shows up and they start putting monitors up to say Blacks for Trump, you can't be like, get the fuck out my shop without having to pay a fee. Not just that money that they owe you for that. Like in many cases, you got to also have to find another venue for them. Like these are some fucked up contracts, right? So in that way, I can see that you can get tricked by this campaign, and the final straw in this argument for me is niggas that fuck with Donald Trump the long way, they don't do this interview. They double down. They be like, we're trying to get black people to stop living off the government. Like, he was like, no, I don't agree. I don't want to smoke. We don't even talk politics in here. And some people was like, what kind of black barbershop don't allow you to talk politics? I'm like, you don't have to be a coon to not want people to talk politics in the black barbershop. I don't know about the way y'all get y'all hair cut, but when I was working in the barbershop, my mom worked there. I was never in there like, can't wait to hear the political discussions today.
Oh, they be ignorant.
The political discussions isn't everyone sitting around like, hey, we all agree gay people deserve rights. A lot of times that shit, especially as polarized, I can't imagine what it's like in 2024. I cut my own hair. But I know back then it was bad. Like, and it don't mean it's 50-50, but like if you say 8 out of 10 black men vote Democrat, 2 out of 10 vote Republican. It don't take much for them 2 out of 10 to fuck up the whole vibe. Now everybody in there talking about some bullshit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I understand how a dude in this community could choose, like, I don't play politics. I just think we thought we was helping black businesses. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So I'm willing to accept that as what could have happened to him. The only problem with that story to me is if the contract you signed had anything about Donald Trump on it, it's hard for me to believe you couldn't see this. Like, I feel like what's more likely is you just didn't see it coming in this way, and not that you completely were blindsided. You see what I'm saying? Like, I can see you being like, oh, it's just gonna be a low-key event. They doing outreach to the community. They chose my barbershop. They just gonna come here, talk to some other local black business leaders. Why not have that in my shop? It doesn't even matter what campaign it is. If it was Biden, I'd do it. If it's Donald Trump, I would do it. Who gives a fuck? And then they showed up and they said, actually, we're about to use you for the photo op. We're about to put this on all our platforms, social media. We're about to basically make sure that this looks like an endorsement from you and your community. And then he looked up and said, oh shit, I didn't think this would be this big. Now let me go cover my ass on this TV show and be like, hey, I just thought it was black business. Well, the contract says from the business, the people you're signing a contract with says DJT 4P224. What did you think that meant? Because to me, that sounds like Donald J. Trump, you know what I'm saying, for president 2024 or whatever. Maybe he's that ignorant that he read that and didn't register to him. I don't know, but it would have registered to me. So it's hard for me to look past that part. I think he's embellishing how blindsided he was.
Okay.
But I do believe that he was used. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I can put a medium space between the polar opposites of those opinions of either he's actually a Republican and he just did. I think he thought in for a penny and they went, you know what that means? In for a pound. You can't just have a little bit of this Trump shit. We're about to use you. So I think that's what he got. I think he both got used and was willing to be used. He just got used too hard. And so now he has to do this. That's my guess.
Okay. And okay, you give me something to think about. Okay, well then my thing is, how much did he know? What did the contract say? Did you ask them who was coming? Who all gonna be up in my shop before I sign these goddamn papers? And it better not be nobody outside of these people on this list. Like, you can also make that demand too. And my thing is, if you're not into
wait, what'd you say?
Huh?
What demand can you make?
Who gonna be there?
That's the thing though. You sign the contract, you can't. It's like if I sign a contract for somebody to use our house and then, like, I put it this, I'm not saying you can't. Clearly he wasn't thinking about that shit. When he signed that contract and everything that goes with it, it was just, $4,800 for black outreach. They show up, it's Byron Daniels and fucking Ben Carson. It's too late is what I'm saying. You can't be like, whoa. I didn't know it was going to be like this. I think he got played. He was willing to be played. and you helped that scorpion cross that river, you got stabbed in the back. Do I feel some sympathy in that you got played? Sure. But I think this only happens to people that's willing to be played, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And also, I think that because the thing is, they came to you one way, and going by your word, I don't know how true it's not, it quote unquote switched.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing is, when you do things like this, when you work with all these different organizations and things like this, maybe you should have made sure it was somebody that you knew or something like that. I don't know.
I think they target people that are likely to be too ignorant to know all this shit. We're talking about this in hindsight, like we're fucking experts. How many things have people reached out to us and we're like, okay, sounds like a good idea. Like if everyone do what they supposed to do, like if Karen Hunter reaches out and says, hey, we're doing Foolishness Friday, I'm trusting in a lot of stuff there to be like, I know you got my best interest in mind, and I don't think you would do. But if I showed up and somehow it was like, well, you must not read the contract fully because I said we were gonna be slapping everybody that walked in the door, I'd be like, oh, I just trusted that we wouldn't do that.
Right. I did not sign up for this.
Right. So I'm not saying he was like completely unaware, but I can believe he thought it was gonna be one thing and they were like, nope, it's finna be something else. And really the reaction to what it was is why he was like, let me go on the news.
Right, because it's costing me business, it's costing me money.
Which could just be him covering his ass.
I'm in black ass Atlanta.
Which could just be him covering his ass. But I'm just saying, I need people to do it. I know we're all mad. We're all anti-Trump, pro-Biden. I get it. I just need people to do a quick assessment. How many times do these black Republicans do what he's doing right now? And I'm going to say never.
No, you heard something about being on somebody's plantation?
I'm going to say never. So I guess I wouldn't go 100 your cars with this because I'm a little bit like, yeah, you did get played. The real question that we got to ask, I think, is why you get played?
Yeah,
what was it about you and your politics or whatever that made you so ripe to be the one to sign this shit and get played? Because even if we go by your account, you got played.
Yes, you did.
That's the best case scenario. You got played.
It was a bait and switch, and they didn't go to cuts with a Z or none of that shit. They didn't go to them.
They may have. Maybe they turned them down. I don't know.
True.
I just know you got played.
Yes, you did.
By your best case scenario, you telling the truth, you got played. Why were they able to play you? You say you don't talk politics. There's nothing about this that's not political.
Right.
It's impossible it's impossible to have this black business outreach shit with the contract I'm looking at, which says agreement between this dude's barbershop written in pen and Donald J. Trump for president 2024.
Oh, it was in the contract. Well, then no, I don't.
I can't believe you didn't. You see what I'm saying? Best case scenario, you just got played. Like you thought this would be like some low key shit, and then they rolled out the cameras and everything. Was like, nah, you fitting to be out there, homeboy. And then you was like, whoa, guys, I didn't mean it like that.
Right. If what you're showing me is the official contract that he signed, I'm gonna give it to Jakaris, and the biggest reason why I'm gonna stick to my Jakaris is because you don't play politics. The fuck Donald J. Trump on there, you should have said no from the get go, because from your boy, y'all don't talk about politics. They completely out of it then.
Right, and that's look, it's the Trump campaign. Look, maybe they forged this too. I don't know. I'm just saying this is what they put out there. The $4,800. Donald JT, like DJTFP 24 is all over this goddamn contract. The cancellation thing is on this that I was telling you about, where you can't just pull out and be like, nah, I don't like it now that I see y'all got cameras and who showed up. I'm not gonna do it. You can't do that without having to get another venue and pay a fee, and not get paid for it. So, I was asking on Twitter because I said, man, everyone's assuming he's lying. Is there some proof? Because I was like, and by proof, I thought maybe they had some old tweets of his.
Right.
maybe some TikToks, a video where he was like, even if a customer was like, man, I go in there and that dude is a MAGA dude. I was surprised that there was none of that. But once somebody sent me this contract that we just looked at, I was like, yeah, dog, I can't have you back on this one. Yeah. I was hopeful.
And like I said, if it's something where what we saw, quote unquote, was not the contract and it had something different on it,
right?
Okay, I would drop it down to like a 75. I'm still fucked with,
right?
But like for like if this is what you signed and this is what you agreed to for some money, but yet you telling people I can't cuss in here and I can't speak politics,
right?
What is this?
Yeah, so I just had to go through the full thing with you because there was a lot of information out there about this dude that I feel like most people just saw it and went, this nigga. But I think your original rating was 100% right. What'd you have? Jacars or 100?
Jacars.
I think that's right because like I'm fucked with that much, and it's just as a brother, especially, man. The whole talking point of like black men being this weak link of the party and all this stuff, which I don't spread that type of shit, but it's just I do feel like this is one of those things that hurts more than it helps because to me it feels like you thought you were gonna be down, let's say 0 to 10, you thought this was gonna be a 2.
Yeah, because like he thought it was gonna be something private, something right. Like they just doing it for something. Did not realize that people were gonna be like, "What is this?" Didn't realize the name of your shop was gonna be at the forefront. And like he sounded like he was overseas, as he said. And all of a sudden, you probably getting phone calls and emails. And I guarantee you lost more than $4,800 worth of customers.
Are you mad that they did it? Are you mad that we found out?
Because there is a difference.
I don't know this brother's heart. I can never know. I do believe he could be one of these it's not about politics people, because there's a lot of people that think that kind of dumb shit that I just don't ride with. But I think he just thought it was some low-key shit. It blew up in his face, and now he's trying to save face on the news. But it does your cars fuck with me, because even going through all those steps, I still arrived to this is why you shouldn't be fucking with them at all. Ever.
I 100% agree. And it's also, one of those things where I feel bad for the customers who going, that's my spot. Okay, we don't talk about politics. We don't cuss. Okay, cool.
Can I say, if that is true, I'm proud of the customers that went, I ain't coming.
Yeah.
Because like that, listen.
Yeah, because some people that's their spot, and they was like,
not just their spot. No, not just their spot. No. A relationship between a black man and his barber is pretty fucking sacred. You do not find that kind of relationship often.
Especially one that's real good that know you.
To give that up based off of just seeing
like, let's start over again. Shout out to you.
Why isn't that also the story?
Right.
Because as much as it's like these black dudes, they so fucking stupid, can we give a little bit of credit to the black dudes? It's like, well, your business you lost business today. Fucking around. You just found out you gonna have to be on the news begging me to come back, because ain't no motherfucking way.
Right. I'm not getting clowned.
I'ma just have to get my edge up. I'm gonna have to start the edge up process again with a whole new motherfucker.
It'd be like number 1 and number 2.
It is Atlanta, so there's lots of options. But I don't know. There's something about this I love, because that's a community coming together. They didn't arrange a boycott. Everyone just looked up and said that shit whack.
Right.
Is that Rocky?
That shit hit the news. They was like, hey Mike, I heard you get your hair cut at Rocky's.
Right.
What? Why Rocky on the news?
They looked on TV and said, is that Rocky's? Nah.
It was like, is that Rocky's?
Nah, he's sitting right there next to Byron Daniels.
Right. For shit going on down social media and TikTok and shit. And that was and he was like, we got some phone calls. You bet you goddamn right you got some phone calls.
Now, why isn't this covered as a uplifting story of like black people have not abandoned the Democratic Party? They haven't abandoned voting Democrat, and they definitely ain't joined Team Trump.
Right.
Because to me, it's so funny that anyway, we've been going a long time, but it is so funny that none of the stories coming out of the last like week or two haven't been just Donald Trump is staging these black events because there's zero black support. that putting their face on it. No one wants to talk about that. They just keep talking about Joe Biden and the Democrats and all this other shit. When are we going to talk about y'all had to fake a black church event? Y'all had to AI pictures of black people. Y'all had to fake the Chick-fil-A photos. When are we going to talk about there aren't black people organizing events for this dude? The dude you had to shit in the barbershop with is on the news the next day. Like, that's not what I thought was going to happen.
Right.
When are we going to talk about niggas actually don't fuck with you? Fuck what Sexy Red was talking about. That shit ain't true for us.
Right.
Fuck what Charlamagne talking about. That shit ain't true for us. Like that talking point is dumb. It should be dead. Shit like this should kill it. But instead, we'll be back here next week with some other fucking, well, black people vote for Trump. Black men, I heard they voting for Trump. We will be here next week with another dumbass segment. And that's why this shit gets at your cars.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We've been talking for a long time.
Okay.
We can go ahead and wrap this shit up. All right. We'll do more fun things. This is an important show. I told you.
Very important show.
Told y'all it was going to be talky.
We was talky.
I saw all the hot takes, all the opinions out there. I had to give mine. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. Oh.
Go ahead.
Bronny going to the Lakers. Let me just go ahead and say after the break how I feel about that because, I know y'all want to know. Okay, infrared, I see you. Solar Swing is the title of that. All right, so there's two sports things. We didn't get to talk sports last week because we didn't have the time. Right. And we didn't do Balls D Sports. But there's two sports things I want to talk about. Actually, I'll go with the second one first. Caitlin Clark said veterans aren't reaching out to her. She wished they would, like, try to mentor her and stuff like that and give her advice and whatnot. First of all, there are times when we've seen people like talk to her on the court. I don't know about take her under their wing, like they phone. I think she's talking more about like a phone call situation, kind of like how you saw like Cheryl Swoops come out for Angel Reese and shit like that, right? Okay, cool. She was asked this question. She said she wishes that it would happen. That's opening a door. It may happen. I saw people go like, you got to go seek them out. Yes and no. It really just depends on the person. Because the way certain folk feel about Caitlyn, they may even frame that as some weird entitlement. It's a lot of shit going on with the discussion around her and how people perceive her that I'm not even sure she a 22-year-old person or whatever. I've been impressed with how well she has handled it, but I know that it's kind of like when someone hates somebody, there's nothing they can do right.
Yes,
everything they do is bad.
Yep.
If my Twitter timeline is to be believed, it's nothing she could have. If she would have said, hey, I walked over to Brittany Griner, asked for some advice, they'd be like, who the fuck you think you are asking Brittany Griner for advice? It would have just been it's just a
hey, I'm not your mule.
Right. It's just a no-win situation in that way, but I think putting it out this way, maybe somebody steps up and says something.
Yes.
The second thing I will say, it really made me think about how white her environment has been in Iowa and high school and everything. Being good at basketball, especially in the women's game in that state, isn't the same as being good in other states. Because I feel like basketball ends up, you have to go into blackness the better you get at basketball. Period. It's unavoidable in America. It's unavoidable in the world now that I think about it. If you in fucking Serbia and you were raised around no black people, you got to come to America to show us how great you are. And you're going to have to run full face force in the fucking black culture. Iowa is definitely white culture. And I can clearly see that she was raised in white culture. I'm not saying this is a judgment.
But yeah,
the way I've been watching some of the stuff with her over the years, I truly believe she was just raised in, like, the best case scenario, she was raised in those I don't see color white type of people. That's best case scenario. So I truly do think white people don't have a thing that we have in our community that is real talk. Y'all know what I'm saying? They don't have that pull you to the side.
Well, like, hey girl, let me hip you the game. Let me tell you what's about to happen and prepare you so you don't get shook.
Culturally, black people have that. We all do it. We do it to, the ones of us that aren't coons, we do it all the time. You see a black person doing some shit, and you see they need a little help, a little advice. You just want to give them a little friendly goodwill. You pull, hey, brother, I see what you're doing over there now. When you come off that screen, you gotta stop the dribble and pull up right away. Like, we'll do that for just another motherfucker, just another black person. We don't need no prompt, whatever. White people don't got that. And you're not gonna see like Diana Taurasi pull this girl in her wing. Like, you definitely don't want to be the white mentor to Caitlin Clark right now. The streets is hot as fuck.
Right.
So she just kind of gotta solo it. If she a dog, we'll see over the years. They're winning. She's playing better. We'll see. But I just thought a lot of people were like overreacting to that quote that they did the same thing they do to Angel Reese. They asked her a question and they put the quote out there like, "Look at this bitch." And I think it's whack on both ends of it. I don't think it's just a thing that's only whack when it happens to Angel. I think it's whack because a lot of that shit sets her up to be ridiculed too. Speaking of ridicule, the Bronny thing. Okay. I do think it's kind of corny that LeBron and Clutch manipulated to get Bronny to that pick on the team. I'm not saying I don't like nepotism. I'm not saying what are the other talking points that these motherfuckers are saying? Oh, you took someone's spot. I don't care about that. I don't think LeBron's a bad father. It's not that. None of that shit. It's sappy. I was at the movie, so I didn't get to see the propaganda when it happened during the ESPN broadcast. Maybe if I had seen that, I feel differently because I'm sure it's a lot of heartstrings type of like, family vibes and all that stuff. I've seen all the corny jokes. LeBron's fucking his teammate's mom. I've seen all that. The only and by corny, I don't mean I'm mad at him. I still think he's the greatest basketball player I've ever seen. I just have to say though, like, I guess part of me just hopes that it's for Bronny. And I hope this isn't just about LeBron's legacy.
Right.
Because everyone who I saw going super hard for it was really framing it only in the wake of LeBron. They weren't saying anything about Bronny.
Right. And also, when you talk to him, you were like, yeah, dog, like, let's keep this real. That's his daddy. And most young people, once they get to a certain age, they don't want to work with or around their parents. They want to earn the respect. They want to earn the spots. They want to forge their own path. And the bulk of this child's life has been up underneath LeBron's star, which LeBron can't help that, nor can the child. You know what I'm saying? But, this right here, I hope this is a good thing, but you never know. It's going to be one of those things where how many people are not going to respect him? How many people are going to give him a hard time? And people were bringing up, well, other players' son, them niggas were out of the league, not the same.
Right. So like I said, I don't feel strongly about it. I know there's people that feel very strongly about this. I just feel like, I guess, what I'm trying to say, we'll find out, and it'll take years for us to really know. Because I think the thing I've always liked about LeBron and the whole nepotism thing that people get mad about is that black nepotism is not like just white nepotism to me. Black nepotism is typically almost like affirmative action. Somebody that can actually do the job. They normally would never get a chance because white folks never would let them in the door. But you let Rich Paul in the door, and next thing you know, he's a super agent. And he turns out to be a really great agent. Why? Because he always could have done that job. And the reason I put him on is because y'all didn't put him on, but I'm not stupid and racist. So now I'm running the motherfucking NBA.
Right.
Respect it. I understand it's a flex as LeBron as a player. Like, it's a flex as him as LeBron Inc. It means something. Jordan couldn't pull this shit off. I'm not looking at it that way because I feel like the jury is out on how people feel about LeBron and his greatness. nobody was waiting on his son to play on the team to be like, actually, now he's better than Jordan.
No.
I think this might be the first time I feel like LeBron's PR is better than Jordan. I ain't never seen people love on LeBron like this from so many people that typically hate on LeBron.
Agreed, yeah.
To see them completely be on board with this and like going on TV even and making like, you know, these racial statements about how good nepotism is and black people need to kind of be like white people like that. I thought that was interesting because I don't necessarily agree with that, but seeing who made the arguments, I was like, okay. Apparently this, you know, this is gonna be the shield to this is a black family thing and that therefore it's okay. So I hope what happens is that we look up however long from now, Bronny has shown he belongs in the NBA. And I don't mean he has to be great or even good. Even if he just is,
he belongs.
He could be as good as Austin Rivers was, who I don't think was a bad player, but just if he's a journeyman, if he's just a guy on the team that's like good, comes off the bench or whatever, that would be good for everybody. I think. I think also it depends on how you look at fatherhood and parenthood. I noticed the disconnect with me and a lot of people was they think because if a parent can do something for their child, they should do something for their child. And if you don't do whatever it is you can do, then you're a bad parent. I don't necessarily believe that. My parents had money. I didn't get a sports car when I was 16. Could they have gotten it? Sure, they could have, but they knew that there was some shit I needed to do. As good a kid as I was, there was stuff I needed to show that I can handle. And there was also some stuff I was going to have to get on my own, you know? And when it comes to the league, it's not necessarily a meritocracy completely, but it absolutely is sink or swim.
Yes.
So if he is sorry, there will be nothing that can protect him from that. If he's sorry, if he's sorry or not up to expectations or this process takes a while, his daddy can't protect him either.
Nope.
And I hope that, because we don't know much about Bronny, we don't hear him speak a lot. I hope they have that kid insulated in a healthy way.
Right.
I hope he's not too hard on himself.
Yeah, because it has to be a mind trip. Yes.
Because he literally died not too long ago. And that accelerated the plan. It didn't slow it down. You know, you would almost think something like that and I get, like I said, this fundamentally just, I think I see the world different than certain people. It's fine. I'm not mad at them, even if they mad at me. But to me, if my son almost died during practice, I'm not the kind of person to be like, well, this time next year, you need to be in the NBA court. I'm the kind of person to be like, we need to slow down. Like
start asking questions. Like, is this what you want? Are you sure? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like being sure fundamentally.
Even if that's what your kid want, it doesn't necessarily mean that you just go, all right, got it. You know, like, okay, these are the steps. You know, and
steps.
He tried to play a year of college. They didn't really play him. You know, which sucks for him. Because then maybe if you see him play more, maybe his stock rises a little more. Right. Maybe you see like you know, maybe we all get that confidence like, oh no, he's healthy. He's been playing college basketball. That was just a weird day and everything's fine. But instead it's like the plan went on steroids. It's like we got to get him in the league tonight, you know. And I hope, and there's no way to know, only LeBron knows his heart. But I hope this is more for Bronny than it is for, I said in the interview, I'm going to be like the first dude to play on the same team as his son. And so at this point, whether he's ready or not, I know I ain't got but a year or two left. I got to get him on the team while I can. So it's going to have to happen, period. I hope it's not that. Because if it is that, that's about your ego.
And I hope, not about your child's legacy.
Yeah,
like the legacy your child will build on their own.
This is not me saying that's what it is, so y'all ain't gotta like say that's. I didn't say that. I just really hope that it's not an ego flex for LeBron, because I expect a child to want to do what a child does. It's a child. You know what I mean? If you ask, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a computer programmer because my dad was one.
Yeah, children want to.
And then I took like a semester like C+ or some shit, and was like, well, that was a dumb plan.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just how much I loved my dad. I want to be like my dad. It wasn't but the thing is, you got to be your own person, and parents have to let you be your own person.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times you're learning that as you're growing. Like,
yes,
you at 19 might think you need to be a carbon copy, but you at 25 is like, no, you know what really makes me like my dad? My integrity, the way I love people, my consistency, the way I work hard. It don't have to be that I'm playing basketball. It could be anything,
mm-hmm.
you know. But so, like I said, I think about those things because I'm a little bit, maybe whatever. I'm a little bit more empathetic than most people, or empathic or whatever. So I think about those kind of things. This is not me poo-pooing it or saying it's bad or saying whatever. I'm sure if he's not a good NBA player, there's a million things Bronny could fall back into that is better than most people's lives.
Fine, either way.
The difference is, to me, I don't trust this media and this social media with the well-being of this person, because I've seen the snakes that these folks are.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the ridicule that they have. Someone said, we don't say anything about Giannis's brother. He's a nepotism case. And I said,
damn joke.
I said, right. I said, that they're running jokes.
Yes.
So if you're telling me that LeBron thinks it would be like, I know that can't. There is no fucking way on earth LeBron thinks Bronny is going to be a laughing stock like the Nass's Antetokounmpo.
Mm-hmm.
There is no way he believes that and then got him on his team.
Right.
There is no fucking way, because that would be irresponsible as a parent, and I refuse to believe that about that man.
Right.
So I guarantee LeBron thinks the boy can play. He thinks he's gonna be good. He thinks he's an NBA player, and hopefully this will be his best shot to prove that. So I'm not. So like, people that are making this like we don't care about nepotism thing, shut the fuck up. You're a liar, because we clown it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Not even racially.
All types of clips of him, and it is a fucking laughing stock.
And it's not just racially. You know, just we clown it just on its face. We clown Jonte Porter being Michael Porter Jr.'s brother. Like, we clown shit all the time. You got a brother that's sorry and you good. We clown Blake Griffin's older brother that wasn't in the NBA. Like, it. So I guess what I'm saying is, I think about Bronny as a kid still in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I just hope it's not like from the dad's ego is more important than how we treat his son. And I don't trust that these people that were big up in that decision.
Mm-mm.
I like, if he struggles, if something happens,
flip on him at the drop of a hat.
I feel like those same people, especially the way they talk about LeBron already.
Right.
I mean, think about Skip Bayless. Y'all trust Skip Bayless gonna be reasonable?
Yes, right.
The dude that clowned Dak Prescott for talking about his mental health after his brother died by suicide. Like, I don't trust these motherfuckers, and I do worry about the mental health of a young black man coming into this league with a lot of unspoken expectations on him that no other pick at this point would have had. Everyone would have been cool about this pick. If they pick anyone else, it'd be like, yeah, maybe they make the team, maybe they don't.
If they pick
they're gonna act like this kid's a failure if he isn't great. And I hope that doesn't become some bullshit. And I don't trust any of you motherfuckers talking about it out here to be fair. I hope everyone proves me wrong. But I just don't trust that this is gonna be this celebration constantly of him being on the court. The same people that can't talk about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese,
right,
are gonna be reasonable about Bronny. Okay.
No.
Anyway, hope he has enough support around him that this won't even be an issue. And I hope I'm overthinking it. I hope it's all bullshit. But I did want to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's it, man. No spoiler ratchetness. We'll be back. We're already 2 hours and 10 minutes. This is a long talky episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye, everybody. Have a good